All right, folks, good afternoon. And it is that time of the week. It is the middle of the week. It's Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday. And of course, you're tuned into the Marketplace Show, Reset, brought to you by SETI and powered by the Marketplace. I'm Anthony Weeks, and I'm delighted to be here with you this afternoon. We are coming to you live on a number of platforms. We're live on WSDX 970 AM, and we are live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're also live on the JumpStartEconomy.us website. You can learn more about this initiative, JumpStart, at www.jumpstarteconomy.us. And also, we are also live on La Mega Mundial. They're our Spanish media partner, and so our content is also shared live, broadcasting live on La Mega Mundial. Also, later rebroadcasts on Friday throughout the entire week, Monday through Friday, at 2 p.m. But the two new episodes are on Friday and Monday. And my colleagues are in queue, and I'll bring them up shortly. But we have a really great show for you this afternoon. I just want you to know that today's special guest, we have the founder and president CEO of VTech Solutions, LLC, out of Washington, D.C. We have the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, interim CEO of the U.S. Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, Wayne Biggs. And then we have Dr. Micah McIntosh. She owns Better Day Cafe. And I'm going to bring in my colleagues now so they can join us on the program. I see that they're in queue. We have the first show will feature our first guest, which is Victor P. Holt. He's the president and CEO of VTech Solution. He'll join us shortly. But let me just say hi to my colleagues, both, of course, we have Linda and Carolyn, and of course, Brian. How you guys doing today?
We're doing really well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, doing great.
Fantastic.
Hi, Brian.
All right.
Hi, how are you, Linda?
So I take it that you guys had a wonderful Labor Day weekend, safe, enjoyable, right?
Safe, enjoyable.
Social distancing, but we had some of the most beautiful weather. We like to call it picture postcard weather. The temperatures were great. The weather was great. And so we were really, really pleased.
Fantastic. And how was the weather up north, Brian?
That was beautiful. It was in the low 80s, so very comfortable, light breeze, nice, good weather.
Yeah, the last time I was up in Boston, I was freezing my tush off, man. It was cold, man. It was cold. So I'm just wondering, if September is cold as, when does it really start to get cold in the New England state, Yeah.
It depends what you call cold. So cold for us isn't cold for you, right? So totally different. But, late October, it's pretty brisk, but not cold yet. It's
Okay.
really late November before it starts getting cold.
Fantastic. All right, so Linda and Carolyn, we have this afternoon a business owner with specific emphasis in the public health space. And so why don't you do the honors of introducing him, and then we can then start a conversation with Victor.
Well, we are thrilled that Mr. Victor P. Holt, who is the president and CEO of VTech Solutions Incorporated in Washington, D.C., is with us today. Victor is a long-term, very highly successful businessman in our community here that has a very extensive portfolio of clients within the federal, state, United States, I should say, across country, and local municipalities. He has a remarkable pulse on what is happening in the technology, cyber integration, data warehouse space, among others. But Victor has a unique has added into business opportunities to work in this COVID-19 environment, what we call the COVID-19 pandemic. And his success has just been multiplied by being able to move large amounts of product in what we call the PPE, the personal protective equipment space. So Victor has been supporting the frontline and essential workers in this way. And we're thrilled that he's here to talk about a lot of different things. If we can get it all in our little bit of 30 minutes that we have to get it in. Hi, Victor.
All right.
Hello.
Victor.
Thank you, Linda, Carolyn, Anthony, Brian. How's everybody?
Very good.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Good,
Good. Good. So I'm excited because obviously one of the sectors, market sector that seemed to be sort of bulletproof in this pandemic is technology, and so specifically, you have a particular concentration in health as well. So technology and health are doing very well, and so I'm really looking forward to hearing the conversation, how you're doing and how you're helping to impact and provide to help mitigate the problems we have with the COVID-19. So welcome to the Marketplace Reset.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Well, Victor,
All right,
let's just hop right into it. Yeah, we're going to hop right into it because you're going to pull the plug in our time, and we have 3-hour show in a very compressed period of time.
And I have the stopwatch going. So,
And as
Don't
always,
worry, we're good.
Carolyn, and as always, Carolyn and I are going to listen intently. We hope the listeners and viewers do. We have our orange wall notebooks and our pens, and we take notes. So, Victor, let's talk about what the pandemic has meant to your business in terms of thinking about the health of your business, thinking about how other businesses that you may be get some of the top 5 or 6 ways that businesses can insulate themselves. What would be your advice to them?
So, I mean, for us, I'll just go back to January, post or pre-pandemic, and as we were looking out and forecasting who we were going to be and what we were going to be in 2021, our focus mainly was within the federal space as it related to health and human services. And we had decided to really go down 2 lanes, one on a technology standpoint, and then the other side was health as it related to some of the social problems that we were seeing occurring in the communities. On the technology side, we were doing a lot of work as it relates to systems, helping and assisting federal government and state and local government as far as updating and doing the daily care and feeding operations of their daily health system. One of the contracts that we work with is with CMS, where we're actually helping them to institute new technologies as it relates to the ICD-9 and CPT coding. Folks say, well, what is that? That's how the doctors get paid. So when you go in, they do a diagnose you, they put in certain codes that mean something to the insurance industry, so that those doctors / providers can get paid. And what we were doing with that, with so many new, unfortunately, illnesses and symptoms coming out, those codes are ever changing. So we had subject matter experts as well as programmers and analysts that have been working in that area to support those efforts. What we saw as we started going into late February, early March, was the need for PPE. So one of your questions was, how do a business stay relevant, or how does a business continue to maneuver and grow through the pandemic? With us being what I would consider, a trusted partner, a 20-year-old company, we had clients who came to us and just started asking, do you do PPEs? Do you have PPEs? And probably after about 2 weeks or 3 weeks of being asked that question, what we did was we jumped into the pool, but it wasn't head first. We just stuck a toe in to say, okay, let's understand the PPE game. Where do we get supplies? How do we build relationships? And how do we ensure that we will be getting what our clients need? So probably by the time late March, early April hit, we had become a player in that arena. And it was a major pivot for my organization because it was something that we had never done before. We had never worked in that area. And where we are today, probably doing more on that side than what we're doing on our services side, which is health technology and professional services.
Okay, that's really interesting, Victor. So how many employees do you have in your company?
Right now, we have about 102, 104 employees.
Okay, and those initially, they were all doing something else, perhaps something technology based. Who is it that really focuses? How large is the team that focuses on your PPE, the PPE side of your?
That team is made up of about 7, 8 people within the company, and then we have outside resources that we use as well.
Okay, so that's interesting. So everybody has to become educated and really get up to speed on how to do this, because I wouldn't even know how to begin. You mentioned trying to find trusted sources and trusted supplies. How did you do that without giving up your secret sauce? How did you all do that?
Trial and error. I mean, every relationship wasn't a good one, but it wasn't one that extended to the client. It was just, as you're negotiating, as you're reading through, you look, it's just like anything. You look at the organization, you look at the personalities that are in it, and you make informed decisions of whether or not to go down that road. At the same time, there were a lot of folks jumping on the PPE bandwagon, if you will, and a lot of startup companies that came from just, everywhere. And, one of the things that we had, which was a major differentiator, when folks would say, well, how long you been in business? And we could say 20 years and, be able to demonstrate that we were already in the health field, the health arena, providing services that made them more comfortable. And, that made us, that gave us a good check mark. Our name.
Okay. So Victor, let's talk a little bit about you as the president and CEO of a highly successful company right now, and how are you doing? Sometimes we need to find out how the leadership is doing and everyone else in the company. We want to make sure, particularly as African American men, we talked a lot about the predispositions and all the comorbidities. We've even talked a little bit about mental health, the lack of sleep with one of our guests a couple of weeks ago, and the impact on our body. Let's just start talking about how are you doing? What are some of your practices to keep you safe that you could share with others?
Yeah, some of my practices to keep me safe, it's getting up in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and getting on the Peloton. And, after that, I might look at the weights for about 10 minutes, and then I'll decide to look for about 15, 20 minutes. So, but mostly it's just, diet. One of the things that I've started within the last few weeks is, just making sure that my water intake is what it needs to be, and doing about 3 or 4 smoothies a day. I'm becoming a smoothie chef, if you will.
Okay.
Also, having people that you can check in with. So aside from my fiance, I'm always, that I'm always talking to. I belong to an organization that's an all-male organization. And what we do really is we almost have sort of a phone tree where on a weekly or every other week, we're checking in with each other. And we call it the collar call. So that's where, as men, you would understand when your dad or your uncle would walk up to you, grab you by the collar and say, "You okay?" and what that meant was, tell me how you're doing. Don't say, "Oh man, everything's good. I'm all right." But that's a moment to have an intimate conversation with a brethren that, if nothing else, you're offloading. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to give you the answer to anything, but you're offloading, and you know that you are in a safe space with that person when you're talking to them, and that conversation goes nowhere.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's, you know, Victor, we applaud you, and I'm sure our colleagues, Brian and Anthony, applaud you, and hopefully they will develop their own collar network as well, because mental health is very important during COVID, and we're learning more and more about what has been happening with individuals who are isolated, who do not have someone that's checking in on them, who do not talk. All of a sudden, your new normal is now just down to the people inside your four-wall household. So it's very, very good. What, are you hearing any common themes that our listeners and our viewers could kind of latch onto that would let them know that this is a red flag that you're seeing in those kind of conversations?
I mean, basically, it's, you know, as men, I think, you know, from the time that we start walking, it's always, you know, the suck it up approach that was instilled in us. And, you know, now it's time to really grow it up, be it yourself, a relationship. And as we're going through, you know, for me personally, I always look and I say, okay, this is the season that we're going through. And who do I want to be and what do I want to be when I come out of this? So I look at it as a self-reflective time where, you know, just look in the mirror and make those decisions as it, you know, relates to yourself, your family, your loved ones, your company, or whatever, and then start, you know, that course, that journey down the road to implement whatever, you know, those desires are, whatever that plan is.
I love that. That is, you know, as I look at you even sitting behind the desk, I can tell you are a big man. So those are not the kinds of words I would expect. And I'm sorry for the stereotype I had in my mind that you were just this He-Man and it wouldn't matter. But I think that that's excellent advice for everybody. So to spend the time reflecting and then reaching out to the people that make a difference. But I'm going to share that information about having a collar crew among the males in my family, because I think that that's amazing. Now, let me ask you this. Because you're in one of the business, we know that Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland, the DMV area, as we call it, this metropolitan area has been hit hard because all of our entertainment venues, our restaurants, every place we would go for an outlet has been impacted in a very, very serious way with COVID. I mean, even though some of our state started phase 3, our county and our sister county did not, and some others did not. So my question is, with your business doing so well, have you found ways or opportunities to give back during this COVID time?
Yes, yes, we have. We've done a few things. There's a nonprofit that's out in Maryland, actually, that we donate to, and it has really become a significant part, you know, of our philanthropy. So what we do with them is, as the company grows, you know, we just stay in touch, look at what they need, and, you know, support them along the way. The name of the organization is called Love for the Hopeful, and what it is, it's called Love for the Hopeful, and it's headed up by a woman by the name of Cynthia Brinkley Scott. And what she does in the Maryland community is she's out there championing to make sure that homeless, downtrodden folks who don't have the monetary needs to just basic necessities are able to get those. So we tie in to her as a company so that she's successful and that she can spread that, you know, those blessings out into the community. One of our most recent donations was to Martha's Table in the district, which
wow, we know that.
familiar with. And what we did there, we donated 15,000 face masks.
Oh, fabulous.
And, you know, Martha Table here in Washington, D.C., they reach out to the many diverse communities within the city, and they provide support and all sorts of services to those in need. So, you know, we were really happy and blessed to be able to provide that to them. And we also provided face masks to the DC Department Child and Family Services.
Wow.
So for those mothers and children that have been displaced for whatever reason that are in that program, to ensure that they have protection along the way.
Wow, Victor, you are giving me chills with this because, you know, when we think about necessities became a different conversation when COVID arrived because suddenly we were all in need of very different things. So when people don't have basic things that they need for life, how in the world could they step up and then have all of these extra supplies that we, with the best, you know, internet and everything else, we're searching around. If we couldn't find them, how could they? So the fact that your company identified organizations, that is so commendable, and it gives me chills. And I'm grateful to know you and to know that your company does something like that. You're really sharing your wealth.
I mean, it's real, and you know, I'll share a story where, you know, I think I got out of my car just recently, 2 days ago, and I walked in a store, and I was on the phone, and I just forgot to grab my face mask. As soon as I hit the door, I was reminded. I was like, "Oh God," you know, and you know, fortunately, I had the face mask in the car, so it was no big deal. But what it made me think about is that there's actually folks that are walking around, because there isn't a 100% face mask enforcement in DC, but they can't go into stores, they can't, you know, do anything because some of them don't have access to those face masks, those face shields or whatever. So we were definitely, you know, we were definitely appreciative that we were able to donate.
Love that.
Are you looking for others to support your efforts? And if so, is there a way they can reach out to you, Victor, maybe through your website, or get to know your company and support you in your philanthropic endeavors? Can you give us that website or that contact details right now? And for anyone that needs your business, how about that?
It's www.the-techsolutions, TECHSOLUTIONS.net. And that tells you all about us and how to get in contact with us. And, you know, for those who are looking to support or donate, we definitely have an avenue for that. And we would welcome the opportunity to receive that and or assist you in getting your donations directly into the community.
Wonderful. And or if they need very large orders of PPE, because you are the centerpiece of being able to make that happen.
That's right.
There is no kidding. We're talking into the billions and hundreds of billions. So if you
need PPEs, just email us, ppe@the-techsolutions.net, and we're able to really get whatever's needed in high quantity, and you know, we would love to talk to you.
I love that.
That's wonderful. And so for our last few minutes, because we've talked about, you know, mental health, your health, business health, how to help the community, which has been a very comprehensive conversation. What would you, for those who are starting their business, because the world just can't stop in our pandemic economy, people want to get to where you are, Victor. What would be some of the top things that you would recommend to, if you were in a mentor relationship with a small growing business, what should they be doing now, even inside the pandemic economy?
All right, couple of things that come to mind. You look at history, this is where you make your money. This is where you grow. If you just look at history, and what history has taught us is that, you know, the phoenix rises from the ashes, or, you know, any of the cliches. You know, someone said something to me ones that always stuck with me. And, small business owners, I think they would relate to, and they said, greatness lives at the edge of destruction. And
Wow.
the way that I took that, greatness lives at the edge of destruction, is that, you have to just release everything and go down, to whatever you think your bottom is sometimes. And then you come up. And the way that you come up from that is getting up, going back to what I said, looking in the mirror and looking at your face. Don't think of face as this, but face is an acronym. I don't look at face as a word. I look at face as an acronym. And what face means to me, F is focus, A is accountability, C is commitment, E is execution. Focus, accountability, commitment, execution. That's how you get anywhere in this world. And that's how you, reach your goals. So, I believe in face so much so that everyone understands it. I trademarked it. So
Are you serious? But we can.
I actually trademarked it. So, and it's something that we use a lot at VTech. But I always tell folks, you have to start with yourself and knowing who you are, and the focus and the accountability that's gets you going down the road to implement your growth plan, your strategic plan. The commitment is what you give to your client, but to yourself, and that you have to your family. The execution is, how you deliver, how do you stay in touch with that client? What is the relationships? So that's what I would give them.
I love that.
That is outstanding.
Absolutely.
Did we all get that? Face.
I know.
Yeah. Hey.
Focus, accountability, commitment, and execution.
Mhm.
And I get that, and that seems to transcend whether you're in business,
All
health,
parts of your life.
working with the community. So we're doing great. We were obedient to the time this time.
I know.
Ladies, that's okay. That's okay. We give you the floor, okay, because obviously that's your segment. But if I can, our other guest is not here yet. So, Victor, if you don't mind, I would like to throw in one or two questions. I know Brian and, of course, Terry as well.
Hi,
Victor Terry Coxum is our other colleague. She is responsible for the New York Tri-State area for JumpStart Economy. And so she just joined us.
Hello.
So Victor, the obviously technology has been thrown to the center of this COVID-19 pandemic. Prior to that, telehealth, telemedicine was something that was not a buzzword, right? Folks are still, trying to get used to not going physically to the doctor, but being outpatient care remotely, virtually, using telehealth, telemedicine. I heard cybersecurity. How does your firm and your relationship working with the private sector and even with the federal government and state in your technology space, how do you see the long-term trajectory in terms of how technology is going to play with how medicine or healthcare is delivered to the public?
Well, right now, I think it's all playing itself out with exactly what you just said. What we're seeing is something that no one would have ever fathomed. So as it relates to technology, technology is going to have to be agile. It's going to have to be mobile. It's going to have to be safe. So with that, we're going to see, I believe that we'll see more and more processes and governance as it relates to cybersecurity. When you talk about health, there's HIPAA compliances and laws that have to be adhered to as it relates to technology. So I believe all that's on the fast track right now. There's no yesterday, as I don't believe there's no yesterday or any reference as to how it used to be. But what we're going to do is continue to look forward and say, this is what it is and this is what it needs to be. And, as you talk about technology, over the last 2 to 3 weeks, there has been really, I think, instrumental growth as it relates to that, because you have enterprises that were really just used as a business platform that are now being used for really distance learning, because mom has become mama, Miss Principal, Miss Mama Principal, and mom has become lunchroom lady, and mom has become aftercare. So, with that, there's going to be certain things that she's going to need, mom and dad, really, within the household, technology wise, and to do the day-to-day things, but the kids as well. So I think we're going to see, the pace that we were on for smart cities. I believe that's going to speed up, because, unfortunately, everyone doesn't have Wi-Fi because they have to consider financial situations. And with, the kids at home, with parents working from home, there's going to be a need for a whole lot new technology. So I think that anything here moving forward is, not just cutting edge, but it's going to be an edge that continues to move, because I don't think we know what we don't know as of yet, and what that impact is going to be. And then you have to look at business owners, whether you're a big business or a small business, even though there's been economic downturns, there's been gains as well. And, I'm sure the economists are going to be looking at what were those gains that occurred. And, do we need all the office space, all of the, hundred of millions square feet of office space that used to be used? Or do we go to, a different situation where we can do work at home or teleworking or whatever the case may be? And what do we need to make that happen? The desktop support and all that is going up in the cloud. That's where we were headed anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just accelerated.
Okay, before my other colleagues jump in, so we've seen the sort of chronology, or the time span, if you will, where early on the medical field, doctors made home visit. They came to your home, and they they provided family care. Then we see that transition into now going to the doctor's office, right? If you want medical attention, you got to go to the doctor's office. Now we're seeing, okay, the pandemic is now changing that. It's now remotely. The trust factor in terms of security, do you believe, how long do you think it's going to take the public to really have trust in the technology, and it without them remotely having to go into the office, into the doctor's office or the clinic, or wherever they go to seek medical care? How long do you think it's going to take to get that comfort?
I actually look at it differently. I don't think it's how long it's going to take for the public to gain trust. I think it's really is how long will it take for the medical community to adapt to it.
Wow.
And once they do adapt to it, what are the utilities within it that they will be able to use and be able to gain? I mean, I know that there's there are new doctor offices or medical, what I consider really a medical care platforms that are coming online right now, where vitals and lab work and all that is done very quickly. But I'm looking at where is the vital machine that's going to be in everyone's house. So if you're feeling a certain way, you stick your arm in the sleeve, it looks at your blood pressure, a little door open, it pricks your finger to look, get a blood sample or whatever. So, I think that's, more sooner than later. So I don't think it's going to be up to us, be it the average citizen, to adapt and accept. I believe it's the medical community, which whatever HHS, FDA, or whomever is going to approve, that's going to put it out there. Because what you got to look at is the convenience. You go to the doctor's office, however you want to scan it, That's 1 to 3 hours out of your day.
Right.
So
Brian, do you have any questions for our guest, Victor?
No, I don't. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to you, Victor. I've learned a lot, and I tattooed face on my arm here. Well, I think that's a great acronym, and it's certainly I'm going to share that with some folks. I'll give you credit. I'll definitely give you credit for that. And I do agree with you totally on the trend in the healthcare and moving from just telemedicine to virtual primary care. It's coming down the pike pretty quickly.
And I think we've all experienced that virtual primary care in some way, form, or fashion. And we certainly hope they have, because we don't want individuals to wait until the pandemic is over to go into the doctor's office, because doctors are taking their precautions and they're following the guidelines. Because then we on our last two guests, last week and the week before, we now know there's tons more issues that are beginning to present because individuals are waiting or deferring their doctor's appointments.
That's right.
But Victor, let me just say this about that medical care platform. Orange Wall Enterprises want to work with you on that to bring it to fruition. We've had the same exact thought that when we get into the home and create first responder or home-based medical diagnostics of significance, we will be able to rewrite how well individuals actually are able to get their medical support, affordable medical support, because now you're looking at diagnostic services that can manage far more information and data and provide that kind of information for remedy and treatment and services post those diagnostic, that data going in. Brilliant.
And Linda has this little thing. She has this he-who. So there's a he-who. Every now and then she's got these he-whos. So her thought is he-who brings the technology all in one place to your home is the winner. So we laugh and we listen to her he-whos. That was one of them.
okay.
Yeah, Terry, you obviously we're in your segment, the small business segment. Victor, Terry is responsible for our small business segment. Terry, I know you came in kind of a little bit at the end there. Anything you've heard that you want to comment on?
I do. A couple of things, actually. First of all, Victor, I am also taking FACE, focus, accountability, commitment, execution. We're in there. Thank you so much for that acronym. We'll give you full credit for it, but I think that's an awesome opportunity for me to share with my students to face forward, to move forward. One of the things I wanted to add, the virtual platform for healthcare, it is here already. It exists already. There's more people that's coming onto the platform that, especially during COVID, that like Linda said, they weren't able to go to the doctor's appointments because of fear of COVID. And I think it's going to be even simpler than just having that sleeve, just, and that opening of the door. I think it's going to be your phone or your watch, your smartwatch. I think it's going to be something as simple as that is going to be able to read your vitals from head to toe. And the technology already exists. I'm just waiting for it to come online. I know that that's going to happen. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. The other thing that you mentioned, you talked about downsizing. And I know one of the things when I was at SBA, GSA was charged. As we all know, GSA is responsible for the federal building. So GSA actually purchases everything from paper clips to planes, right? So 26 Federal Plaza and all the other federal buildings are part of GSA's portfolio. And the administrator at the time was charged with downsizing the office at that time. So right now we're facing COVID, where the offices were, closed. There was a pause, and now there's a restart. But a lot of the services that they are able to provide, they're still doing it virtually. And I think it's only the beginning of that quote unquote downsizing of the office spaces, because we came in to realize a long time ago, all of the office space is not needed. And so you're spot on with that assessment. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else can be done, because you can work now from just about any place as long as you have Wi-Fi access. You don't really need to have a actual office building to be in. And that saves. That's going to save on the electricity. It's going to save on a lot of different things. And that's what the government is looking to do, especially at this time. So that's a spot on assessment, Victor, that I appreciate. And then lastly, I see that you're part of HubZone.
Yes.
So
Yes,
we are restarting the economy and we're jumpstarting the economy. Just want to know a little bit about, some of the contracting opportunities that you've been, available to get during this time, or if there is something that SBA or any of the other agencies you think could be doing a little better to make sure that you are utilizing your small business development certification, your hub zone certification, your veteran certification. Just want to get an idea of that, because we're always pushing for businesses to get certified, and that's just basically your license to hunt. You still got to go and get what you need, right? So just want to hear a little bit about that.
Okay, so first of all, I sit on the board of the National Hub Zone Council, and actually this week is our virtual conference that we're at.
Okay.
So as a big advocate for hub zones, I always tell folks, I say, hub zone is the only socioeconomic set aside that benefits everyone, no matter their race, gender, affiliation, or disability. And, folks look at me and I said, it's true. It benefits everyone. And, when we look at our rural or urban communities, those are the ones that need that empowerment. They need dollars in the community so that they can build their tax bases, so that politicians can have their constituencies, but more so that, folks have the ability to contribute to this country and to keep it on track and growing. So what I would employ is with SBA contracting officers and program managers is to give the hub zones the opportunity to work. The work that we traditionally see come out in the hub zone programs, transportation, logistics, janitorial, and things of that sort. It goes far beyond that, period. And just to give you an idea, I'm a business owner. Not only am I a hub zone company, I live in a hub zone.
Right.
So people live where they live for whatever reason they choose, period. And with the laws that are out now, if I have an employee that lives in a hub zone, and as they grow their career, they move out of the hub zone, I still have credit for them. So what I'm saying to them is that the money that goes into the hub zone program goes into America, period. Not to sound like a politician, but it does. The money that goes into the 8A program benefits the owner. I was in the 8A program. I graduated from it. So
well, congratulations.
I graduated out of the 8A program in 2013.
Okay.
But the monies that go into the hub zone program benefits
the community.
The community.
That's right.
Doesn't matter your race, your gender, or your disability. It benefits all. So when you look at all the other socioeconomic programs and what they encompass individually, or what they are individually, the hub zone program encompasses with one program.
That's right.
Love it.
And it builds the communities.
Well, that's excellent. That's excellent. Victor, we're going to have a follow-up conversation with you privately, because my home is in a hub zone. I'm going to take advantage of that because because of all the documentation that was required.
And our business.
Exactly. And our business is situated there. So that'll be an offline. We're going to stop stealing everyone's time, but it has been such a pleasure having you here today, talking about the things that you have done. To know that your company is doing well is really good, but to know that you're not only doing well, but you're helping others do better and you're giving back, that is a slam dunk. And thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor.
Thanks, Victor.
Appreciate it, Victor.
Thank you, Linda.
All right, colleagues, just hold a second while we hold on a second, please. So that was quite enlightening in terms of Victor. And there's so much that we could have covered with him. I wanted to kind of get a sense of the procurement, because he does a lot of federal procurement contracts. And I was just curious to looking at how the federal government responds to COVID-19. and his experience as a contractor. What is that ecosystem like? Trying to navigate that whole process, and where the real opportunities. I know it can be bureaucratic, so I was really curious to kind of discuss that with them. But we can always do part 2 of that discussion at some other time. But thank you so much for that. I was waiting for the CEO of the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, Wayne Biggs. They're currently
on the line. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
listen, we're economically waiting to make some more money to be in great health.
We've got a conference stuffing up.
We got another Zoom.
Okay.
All right, ladies.
All right, great.
Ladies.
Set up Thank you so much.
You a call, Brian.
Brian, it's always good to see you. I'm always excited about your health piece. Terry, you've got so much going on. We're going to plug in. And Anthony, until next week, you guys stay healthy, be happy.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job, guys. Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm hoping that he explained to me that he was participating in a federal conference called the XM. I think it's XM Bank. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, XM Bank. Yeah.
Okay. Good. And so I was hoping he said he was going to leave the room or leave the conference to come and be part of the show. So hopefully when he signs in, we can pull him in. But let me just say this. It's now 1:47. The second segment, obviously, I would have to end the first segment show and then do the second segment. So if I do that, I'm going to need for you guys to then sign into the second segment of the show so we can continue the conversation, if you don't mind.
All right. And we have
until then, this morning, Brian and Terry, the EDA, the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority has the Virgin Islands Economic Development Bank. They just recently got designated or approved as an SBA lender. So everything from the PPP to the EIDL, it's called the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Right. So this morning, they had a discussion on, what are the benefits? What are the available eligibility for anyone interested in getting an EIDL loan? And so I really wanted to talk to him today to kind of share with our audience exactly, because it doesn't matter whether it's the Virgin Islands, any other state, right? This SBA and the EIDL loan applies across the state.
Right.
But why don't you, if you can, whatever you can share with us, Terry, your knowledge of the SBA and how the EIDL loan works with local, state governments, instrumentality, and businesses, just for our edification. I'm sure, Brian, I don't know how much you know about the Economic Injury Development Disaster Loan, but I'd like to be able to learn something about it.
So first of all, the EIDL loan is the only direct loan through the SBA. The SBA is not a direct lender. So basically what the SBA does is that they will guarantee a loan through your traditional banks or through your CDFIs. The EIDL loan, it's a disaster loan designation. So you're actually able to apply for the loan through SBA. So you go into SBA.gov and you apply for the loan. There's the first page is like a group of questions basically to make sure that you're not gambling or lobbying or any of those things that would restrict you from getting the government a loan. And then you'll answer questions about your business. And as a result of that, one of the things that they did in the States was that they had a pot of money that they would give you in advance when you first applied for the EIDL loan. And that was like $1,000 or so they would give you in advance before your loan came through, and your loan came through within 5 to 10 business days. One thing I can say, Anthony, is they have streamlined the process significantly since Sandy and Katrina and all of those. They've really streamlined the process. So it literally takes you less than 15, 20 minutes to apply for the loan, as long as you have your bank account information and your tax information. You're able to apply for the loan pretty quickly, and they'll turn it around quickly as well. So you're getting your loan. I'm told from some of my businesses that I help get their loan, they got their loans in like 10 days. And so they were actually able to use the loans pretty quickly. They received the advance because they applied early and they got their loan within 10 days. And that loan can go towards anything the business need, whether it's capital improvements, whether a lot of my businesses, they lost payroll because they had to pause. And so there was a lot, they were still trying to keep people on payroll so they didn't have to do unemployment. The one thing that was different this time around was what you mentioned, the payroll protection program. I call it the P3 program. That program was significant in the sense that it was able to, if you used it for payroll, you received up to 75%, you were forgiven. And so businesses were able to apply for that. It has since expired, unfortunately. They're looking to see if they're going to put a pot of money back in for it, because what it did was keep people on payroll. And that was really significant, especially here in New York. A lot of the restaurants had to close. The schools were closed. There were a lot of things that were closed, and people needed to continue to stay on payroll. Fortunately, the teachers were continually paid here in New York. And so they didn't have to go on unemployment, but there were other businesses that did. And so that payroll protection loan was significant for them. And any other question? I mean, one of the other things that came out of, in addition to streamlining the process, Jim Rivera actually is the person that runs the disaster loan for SBA. And he's very knowledgeable, been there for several years and can answer any questions or concerns. They have a hotline available for businesses, and it's really going to be a benefit. The Virgin Islands applying for it. It's very low interest. I think at like 3%, and over a long period of time. And so, what I can do, I can send you over a link, and you can put it, I guess, on the website. And businesses that are really interested in getting more information and a criteria for who can apply for the loan, I'll send that over to you, and you can put that up.
Okay, so we have Brian. I don't know how familiar you are with the EIDL loan, but in the Virgin Islands, I was told on this webinar this morning that over 1,000 businesses in the Virgin Islands were approved for the EIDL loan.
Nice.
I think, yeah. Matter of fact, they said that was a pretty impressive
that's nice.
number. And I think that, I believe, I could be wrong, but I think they said the total loan amount was valued at about 90 million of all the businesses that got monies under the SBA EIDL program.
That's huge.
Brian, are you familiar with this SBA economic disaster injury loan?
So certainly not like Terry is, right? She's a book of knowledge when it comes to the SBA items. But I've had the experience where I've seen a number of my clients actually utilize the SBA programs that are there, and it's helped keep businesses together and communities intact, right, to the best possible. And so certainly any of those resources that a small business owner needs that are available, it's a time when people need to leave no stone unturned, right? Is whatever resources are available that they can use in order to be able to survive this pandemic and get to the other side, they really should take advantage of those resources.
Absolutely.
Especially with EIDL, because EIDL was very low interest. And that was one of the things that attracted a lot of the businesses that I was able to help. It was low interest, and you could apply for both the P3, the payroll protection, and the EIDL loan, which was something that businesses thought you could do either or, but you were actually able to apply for both, and you could receive both.
No, absolutely. And I think you're right on point with that. What we're going to do is I'm going to let's switch over. You guys have the link to the second show. Let me close out the first segment, and then you click on the second link that I sent you guys, and then we can then segue into the second segment of the show. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Folks, this has been the Marketplace here on the Marketplace Reset on WFCX, and this has concluded our first segment of the show, and we're going to start the second segment momentarily. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.